Let's go across then to Jamal Mecklai. He is CEO of Mecklai Financial Services and he joins us in Mumbai. Mr. Mecklai, hi, welcome to the show. Let's start with the Indian rupee first, and we seem to be ranging between that 49 to 49.5 kind of a level for last many sessions now. What kind of cues are you watching out for that, especially looking at the FII inflows which have been quite on the higher side?
Well, I think, everybody is sort of waiting for the budget. That's why it's been sort of very narrow. I spent yesterday or last couple of days talking to lots of economists, and most economists look at current account deficit, things like that, etc., and believe the rupee has to weaken, right? On the other hand, there are people hoping that the budget is going to produce some a buzz. So, I think right now with people are just sitting and waiting. The budget is, delayed now by 2-3 weeks. I think March 15th is the date. And I think we've got the elections before then. So I think I don't see too much change, partly also because globally, despite everything, the euro and the DXY seem to also be moving in a very narrow and tight range.
Yes.
So my call is continued volatility. Direction obviously hard to push at this moment.
You talked about the budget, and the market view really is this is going to be a bold budget. If we hold on to that, then what kind of a range are you working with for the rest of this quarter, or let's say till the budget?
Oh, till the budget, I have no clue, It'll just be narrow, bouncing around. I would say that, if the budget is positive, obviously you're going to see a lot of inflows. You're going to see strengthening. I don't think, though, that there is, I would say 47 would be the high, and 52, even 52 looks a little tricky right now. In the short term, I would say a little bit stronger rupee. In the medium term, though, I think we could see weakness.
You mentioned about the euro as well, and while we have seen a very mixed data come out of that with the Greece uncertainty out, there are lots of issues still out of the eurozone. Are you surprised with the kind of resilience we've continued to see in euro, still holding around that 2.5-month highs?
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that, people are terrified. Right now the Greece problem is more or less, it's resolved for now. But everyone knows it's been put on hold. Earlier, I used to believe that, the euro would have to weaken very dramatically just to keep all the peripheral countries in the game. I don't think that's going to resolve the problem yet. I think we're in for another pretty long period of uncertainty. When I say long period, it could be 5-6 years. Because I think really what's been happening over the last 4 or 5 years has really been a result of poor policies in the rich countries trying to fend off the reality of globalization. So I think you're going to see bad, because it's very difficult to tell someone who's lived all his life in a mansion that he's now got to move to a 3-bedroom flat. And that's the problem in Europe, and that's the problem. The US is a little better off. So I'd have to say I'd bet on the dollar as opposed to the euro if I were to pick between the two. But as I always say, volatility is the only thing, the only certainty.
Well, China continues to, ease its monetary policy. There's liquidity flowing in from that one. And market really seems to be depending or factoring in that US also could be headed that way.
I don't buy that. I cannot believe that US is going to ease further. Growth, let's see what the employment figures say next week. Everyone you talk to says the US looks like it's coming back. The US is known for coming back, The US sort of after 2 or 3 quarters of being quiet, America just can't sit quiet. Now, I understand Mr. Bernanke is still saying he's going to keep rates low till 2014. I find that hard to swallow.
One final question on the Japanese yen and the kind of decline that it has seen, 7-8 month lows versus the US dollar. Of course, there was that surprise easing that happened in the previous week. But are you looking at further declines?
Yeah, in fact, that has been the big play, if you will, over the last week. Well, I'm going to Japan on holiday in May, so I'm certainly hoping it will get weaker still. But I really don't know. I think it will. I think once, the Japanese yen is a currency that sits very quiet, and when it starts to move, it moves dramatically. At least that's been its history. So I think now that it's broken out above 80, we hopefully will see 85, maybe even 90 by May.
All right, Mr. Mecklai, have fun in Japan, and we'll look at the Japanese currency in the meanwhile. Thank you so much for joining us.